Or red.
Yeah.
It's
I
too
want to talk
short.
about, I want to talk about.
It is very sweet.
To say something about cable. You want to
Not
what?
your teeth.
The case. What cable?
No, it makes no sense. The level of sugar is so intense that it makes you.
We're done with that thing with
Well, I asked her when I came over to get my, she said, you're supposed to come in November.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm just
but
gonna
they
put him
want
here.
all of us
I'm gonna
to
put
come
you right across from Joe. This is
Right.
Michael, the
Hey, hi, Joe.
accountant.
Michael Kane, nice to meet you.
I'm a Diane Barry.
Hi, Diane. Mike. Doug Smith. Hi, Doug. Don, I already met you.
Yes, you already met me,
Hi.
because I came unprepared for the meeting.
The red pen.
The red pen. Yeah, I'm not, no.
Oh, is this your favorite?
Put it on the table.
Okay, so we're looking.
Well, I just saw it, right?
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you very much.
Who's this man?
This is like.
I work for Gary Case.
It was her.
I'm Chris, I'm
Gary Case. The accountant.
Who's this accountant?
Yes.
Okay, we didn't know who you were. Who's there, sit at our chair?
Who's this?
Yeah. Don't want to
Who's this man?
Probably thinks he's cute.
All right. Oh, there we go. There are the checks.
Okay.
Did I give you that?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yours is right there, Diane.
Should I didn't thought you meant
We're all federated.
do that.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Mary. Can I have another chair?
Yeah, I'll get the chair. It's just, thank.
Oh, you can force me.
Nope, that's okay.
I can use that chair too.
No, I'm.
Chair, we all set?
I can actually see these now.
Sorry.
New glasses.
New glasses. We are all
Are
set.
you ready for me to call a meeting?
Ready for you to call the meeting.
Okay, call the meeting to order at 2:40 PM. Based on the agenda,
The door, so I tell her, nobody's coming.
we should go with Michael first. And
Okay,
then move on to the other items instead of.
Yeah, that way he doesn't have to sit through all of our meetings.
That's
He'll
okay.
Just do the highlight, that's fine.
No, that's fine. There's no reason, you know, it's procedural stuff.
Do we want this one, Robbie?
Correct.
Yeah.
That packet. Yep.
That's the one I just passed out. Yep, that one. You're looking at the right one. Doug is our newest board member.
Okay, take it away.
All right, so this is the year-end packet for Granby Housing Authority at June 30th, 2024, right? So these are all the forms that we got to submit to the state through their
He wants
this
to pay, you're
online
not gonna
system.
have to-
There are a couple certifications that you'll be voting on tonight. One is the top 5. Tammy has that. That just shows the top 5 employees at the Housing Authority. And
Means the,
Up to
Top.
5.
it's top 5 compensated employees at the Housing Authority.
Of this housing.
Correct.
Yep.
This Granby. Yeah,
And
correct.
And we only have.
Correct. You have 4, so
But the procedure, but the operational system in the state says,
That's what confuses me.
says you got to list
Did we get another one?
5 if you have 5.
Correct. And you'll see on the form itself, there's one at the bottom, it'll say no employee on the 5th one, because obviously there's only 4. Okay.
I just got a job.
Yeah, but you're non-compensated.
I know.
Okay,
Okay, so that's one form you'll be voting on. You'll be voting on, obviously, the year-end financials, which is this whole entire packet.
and this is year in for 2024.
Correct, 6/30/2024.
Okay,
Okay, and then there's the lead paint certification that you'll be voting on, and then there's one final one, which is called the wage match certification, which you'll be voting on. As I was telling Tammy, that technically is in the budget guidelines for 2025, but for some reason in the state online system, for June 30, 2024, they are requiring it to be uploaded in order to certify everything online.
and that basically just states that I am following all the rules because it is Department of Wages, that I am following all the rules set forth by the Department of Revenue. And Gina in the office with me is following those rules too.
Okay, so those are the things you will be voting on. The most important page of this whole entire packet, if you want to flip to page 7 of 8. Operating reserve balance, okay? This schedule was at the time of when we did the last budget revision. And as you can see at the bottom.
Wait a minute.
Do we have it all?
Sure.
It's this one right here.
So you're saying page,
It's 7 of 8
Operating
at the
reserve,
top.
Okay.
No,
okay,
one more. Should be one
Okay.
more if you have it, hopefully, no?
Did I?
No. This one looks like that, but no, I don't know.
Maybe we'll look for this.
Wait.
Do you want to just take a scan?
I'm just gonna take that.
Is it this one?
This is
Nope.
what we,
No.
this is what you're trying to hurry up and do, and we didn't do it right.
Let's just get it. No. And I'll give you an overview at the moment of what the schedule basically says. Is at the budget revision time, it's basically looking at your operating reserve against the maximum operating reserve that Granby Housing Authority can have. At that budget revision time, it was 60% of the maximum. At year end, we ended up at 80%. So higher than what we budgeted at the revision time. The main reasons were, and Tammy can address these, is we didn't purchase the 0-turn lawnmower that was in the original budget. The budgeted vacancy turnover, and that was actually reimbursed through the modernization in Cap Hub. So that was like, I think, $20,000 that we didn't expend. And then there was another 5,000 that we allotted for security, which we did not do
We
either.
didn't add that.
So those were the main reasons. So if you look at this, right, we ended up, and you'll see my note on the side, at 247,687, which comes to 80%. We always want to fall anywhere between, we want to definitely be above 35%. That's the standard minimum of maximum. Obviously, Granby Housing Authority is in well position. It's way above that. Okay. And then if we reach 100 or more, that's when they start reducing subsidy. All right. So we're in, Granby Housing Authority is in pretty
okay,
good
so
shape.
they're not going to reduce subsidy?
No.
even though-
Correct.
Okay, but we should think about spending some of
You
that
got-
money, because didn't I read in the state budget where they're giving more money to the housing authorities? And so how is that money gonna be allocated? And could it be allocated in such a way that it would push us over 100%?
So, well, one, I'm working with Tammy right now on the new budget. So we should have that wrapped up by the end of probably next week. And we want to get that obviously set in stone, and we're working on a second admin part-time, right? And a few other things depending on the new budget guidelines, where
Mm.
ultimately we would like to see the housing authority anywhere between like 50 to 75% of maximum, right? To feel good about it. 50 is kind of low end because then you only have 15% of that 35 minimum, right?
Yes.
And then 75 is getting too close to the top, right? Meaning that we don't want to lose subsidy in some fashion. So we'll be working closely with Tammy over the next couple days and early next week to really fine tune this year's budget to make sure that we land once again in one of those percentage ranges where we feel comfortable, whether we underspend a little bit like this year or overspend, we're still in that nice comfortable range for the operating reserve maximum.
Okay.
Okay.
Place to be.
Correct, right? And, one of the biggest things was, like I said, the vacancy initiative, they finally, they put it through modernization, which was a huge help for a lot of
Yeah.
housing authorities. And that was one of the reasons why obviously we came over the budget amount.
Right.
All right. Most of all these other forms are just, page 1, 2, page 1, 2, and 3, I think of your packet are just really the detailed line items of all the income and expenditures for each program.
Okay, so I guess it's age or something, because no matter how many times net meter utility credit is
My favorite thing to talk
laid
about.
out in the parenthesis, I think old school accounting, and I guess I don't think of it.
So the net meter utility credit is just really the budgeted credit amount that, based on your solar operator, when you entered into the PPA agreement, right? You're getting net meter credits back each month on your utility bill. So we have to report that as really a offset against utility expenses there. So that's why it shows as a negative, because it's really a credit to your utility bill.
Yeah, but then as we pay solar operator costs,
Correct.
shouldn't that reduce?
Correct. That's the net amount. That's the net amount. So if you really look at it,
Okay,
right?
so the net amount, like, for example, in the first column, 88.24 versus 53.92. So the 88 is after you've taken into account.
I would look at column 3 for the dollar amounts.
Oh,
3. Those are the dollar amounts that we budgeted, right? So we budgeted $72,000 in net metering credits for the fiscal year 6/30/24,
yeah,
right? And then obviously the solar costs were 44,000.
okay.
Okay,
So
So-
our net gain is 28,000.
correct, roughly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's our benefit by having this contract.
Correct. So does that answer your question?
Yes, have you encountered any other housing authorities where the net meter credit has flipped to where they're not really,
I forgot to.
No.
put that page.
No.
everybody benefits because it's a fixed.
To my
Because
knowledge,
it was
correct.
defined by the state to begin with,
You got it.
and then we had to either opt in and enroll or not.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
But it's very strange for accounting, right? You would normally see that as probably some sort of income,
Yeah,
right? Because you usually separate income versus expenses, and for some reason they want to show the negative down there because it nets against the total utilities.
okay.
All right.
So is there anything else on this first page that anybody wants to ask a question about? Okay. Okay, so just repeat, so we've got 4 documents here, right? This is the first document. You said there was a lead fee thing we had to deal with, the wage match.
Yep. Tammy has both of those. Those are separate items that you'll be signing.
Okay, and then we have 2 other things.
We have the top 5 compensation form
Oh,
that you're
right.
going to certify. And what the top 5 basically is looking at for AUP, the agreed upon procedures, is they will look at if anything is greater or less than 3% on there. And as Tammy knows, I believe, is they give you an exception even if you underspend on someone's salary.
He's talking about this one right there. I didn't put in there.
Oh, okay.
You had to be here for 10 minutes. That's all right. I was a little flustered.
Sorry, I'm late.
So let's say we vary and instead of 3%, we end up with 7%. What
Negative or positive.
uh,
Either in this case,
Yeah.
which is
well,
very,
we end up with with a 7% variation.
it's only per employee though. The top 5,
Oh,
it's the top 5 is only shown per employee. So it's hypothetical,
So
let's
are
say.
you looking at the variation?
Correct. So what they're saying is, okay, if Mike was employed by Granby and his salary was 50,000, was there a greater or less than 3% change from budgeted versus actual compensation? And what's really strange, we've been Gary's been very vocal in Boston, is saying that it shouldn't be negative. If you underspend based on your budget on the salaries, why would you get an exception and a bad remark on this AUP if you underspend? And they haven't really gotten back to us like to our, but the big thing is always looking at, was it over 3%? And Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, all of them are under 3% on the form, correct? It's the far right-hand column.
Yeah, so the secretary is under by 7%.
Right.
And,
So you'll see an exception come out AUP time, right? You're gonna have to make a comment, due to the budget, right? Or reduced hours of that employee, or if they were terminated, you were trying to fill that position, that's why it was under budget.
Okay.
no, I'm sorry.
That's
sorry.
Diane, that's the one you're gonna be signing afterwards. It'll list all the 4 employees and their total compensation for the year.
Okay, and then there was one other document, right?
So the top 5 and the financials, which is this packet, is one.
And we're signing off on the financials.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And in the whole year thing, you as an accountant, was there any aberration or anomaly that you saw?
From Gary and my perspective, there was nothing that should be noted here tonight. Obviously, that other than the fact that Granby's been in great shape from the operating reserve perspective, which ultimately allows us to be probably flexible in this year's budget. Right, because if originally if we were at the 60% and we come
Yes.
into this year, obviously there was a 12% ANUEL increase to the budget, but 60%, right, versus the minimum 35, there's a little wiggle room, but now if we're at 80, we can still probably do a lot of things that Tammy wants to do and still be around that, like I said, probably maybe 60% mark on this budget.
Okay. Last question.
Yeah.
This whole state housing public-private partnership initiative. You know, the one where they're touting, we want to get more units in the state. And as part of the state budget was this bond for 1.5 billion.
Yeah, I
Are you
saw that
guys
too.
aware of that?
We just read it in the guidelines. We're not too, yeah, but if you want more information, I can definitely talk to Gary.
Yeah, so
Get
if you
back to you.
guys talk about it, what's up there, then get back to us.
Perfect.
Is there a way that we could benefit our particular authority? You know, what's really involved?
Right. I'm hoping they go over that at conference. I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're gonna
Well,
have some
I'm
sort
sure
of
they're going to.
thing there, but what I've been told from Carolina, the housing manager, is that we can't add anything state-wise, but we can certainly apply, go to Mass Housing and ask for federal vouchers
Oh,
if we want to do that. But that's two separate budgets and two separate,
okay, so
Everything.
she doesn't really know who or what is qualifying for the state money. It's only under this program, she would be going for federal, and then all those units would now require
there's-
that we now do additional
well, there's,
federal.
right, so there's
qualification.
money in the state of Massachusetts,
Yes.
but the state, and I might be wrong on this, but the state housing for the housing authority, I mean, there's money in Mass Housing, and it's still in the state of Massachusetts. It's still that part of that money, but it's on the federal side instead of the state side. So I'm not sure,
Yeah, I can confirm with Gary after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
we can
I'm
get
just-
back to
I'm curious.
just to,
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
I mean, it probably will have no impact on our small housing authority, but whenever somebody throws a chunk of money out there,
If we can get it, let's get it.
Yeah.
right. I mean, it would be nice to
Our
grow.
piece would be,
Maybe
so,
expand and.
because we have all these
Right.
things we need to get done and there's never enough money.
Yep.
So,
Understood. And a couple other highlights while you have me. Gary and I haven't gone through the entire guidelines for 2025, but just a couple highlights. Obviously, there was a 12% increase to the ANUEL. For Granby, they're doing the legal service program is up to 4,000 of direct reimbursement instead of 35 compared to last year. And then for your heat pumps, what is your amount for this year? Same exact thing. They're giving
We
out
have
300 per unit,
We
17.
have 72 of them that we had to correct it again in our CPS
Okay.
because they had us down at like,
I mean, wouldn't we save money long-term literally uninstalling and just redoing the
well,
whole
now,
thing?
I mean, fortunately
Because over
now,
5 years, 300, unless all heat pumps need that, I mean, that's $1,500 alone,
right.
and it's just in a.
So they're doing a direct reimbursement of 17,700 for this year budget. Now, Tammy, that was only on 59 units that they
Right,
have.
so we told them, I got a hold of Greg and I told him that again, the number is wrong. We have changed it. ARCAT has changed it, but for some reason, somebody's not doing something because we have 72 of them here.
Okay. I'll tell that to Gary and we'll see if
And
we.
this
can update it.
year is the first time that the amount of money they're giving for us per cleaning is more than what we have been paying. We pay $256 per
I think so.
unit.
Yeah. It's a little
And,
under 300.
and they've finally gone up to where we're actually not gonna have to pay out of our pocket to have them cleaned.
Correct. Yeah.
Um,
Because you got to do the annual maintenance on
right.
it in order to be in the program.
Right. So, but I gotta get,
So that puts a financial burden on the housing, on the
Right.
state.
I don't think we could go back because they pulled out all the heaters in the
Right.
apartment.
And they're really pushing the green energy
Right.
and the
Yeah.
Right.
the stuff
I mean,
like that.
So I don't think they'll ever.
What you're making up for in green energy, you're paying in
Maintenance.
costs.
No, I.
Yeah. ridiculous.
I
Yep,
wonder
you
what
got
the-
it.
I wonder what the impact at the entire state level is, given that we're not the only,
Yeah.
and what percentage, of
We've been talking to them, same thing as Gary. Gary kind of advised them, I believe, as well, as to maybe have a separate line item. As you can see on your
Right.
schedule, there's no separate line item for heat pump maintenance, so they can actually see how much it's costing the housing authorities to then probably do that comparable analysis, right? But
Well, I know
unfortunately,
when we do the rent recertifications and we're doing the new worksheets, you
Mhm.
have to separate the electric heat or other. So
okay,
and that's the
That's
first
good.
time that they're making us separate out whether it is,
Yeah, but you want to know what your maintenance bill is,
correct,
because that's a reoccurring expense every year.
every year, yeah.
Getting bigger too.
And it's never gonna go
Don't
down,
know.
so.
Well, I'm assuming they do, because they know, like I said, they gave us a $300 credit. So they got to know what the
I think
average
they're
average
finally
is.
realizing that this is costing more than what they, but 300 is a whole lot better than the 75 they were giving
Yeah.
us.
Right.
So.
Right, and I mean, just from our perspective as being accountants, it would just be easier for us to also just have a line item there, just in case someone wants to know how much it is.
Right.
It's usually buried in 4430, which is contract costs. And so if the board's asking us how much did we spend on maintenance, well, we got to go extrapolate that instead of just looking at a line item and saying you
Right.
spent, 15,000 on it.
Yeah.
All right. Those were kind of the big highlights of the budget guidelines. Obviously, the ED salary can go up a maximum of 4%. They're giving up to 9% increase on admin salaries, excluding the ED salary, and then also 9% on maintenance labors, maintenance salaries. So those are kind of the key highlights to note.
Must reflect a tight labor market. Okay. Or are
And the
these
two I
union
got last
contracts?
year.
No, not
Because I kept thinking earlier, some of the
What's
nuances
the
might
percentage
be
on that? that they
because
put
of
up?
state level.
So the ED salary is 4%.
Some kind of contract.
Yours?
It goes based on the
And
Department
then
of Labor.
the
and
other
wages.
salaries
Okay,
can go
just
up
department, and that's
9%.
that, and this was their decision.
But
And ED is
the
4%.
maintenance salary is still
Okay.
the standard of
Department of Labor.
Department of Labor standard, so you can increase it but you have to be able to justify.
Correct. So the minimum you can pay the maintenance salaries is the Department of Labor standards.
Yes.
Rate. And then if you so choose to, you can obviously give up to a certain threshold, which is now like the 9%. And then the ED salary, like I said, in the budget guidelines, it will say 4%, but it's really like 3.7% because they didn't go up on the family factor or the state program factor. So when you actually look at the overall increase, it's on the base salary, it's really like 3.7.
Okay. But hopefully it's a inflation positive rate so that
Yeah,
at
the
least
12
you have some gain.
the 12% on the ANUEL is pretty big according to Gary.
Well, even on wages, if you're,
Yeah.
this 9% is huge, especially if
Well,
inflation's running at 3%, that gives the employee net 6% purchasing.
Doesn't mean we're giving.
We're giving it, yeah. And also that's the same thing. You have to stay within obviously the budget and
Right.
and below the ANUEL, but that's what I'm saying. If there's room and there's justifications to do so.
Well, what we have right now is because of our annual level, we have some flexibility to deal with that.
Correct.
But again, when you look at the number of hours, I mean, it's not huge.
No.
So,
No,
okay.
it's not. This is Gloria.
Hi, Gloria. I'm Mike, by the way.
McCain.
Okay, you can reach.
Yeah, that's all right. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right. Any
Sorry,
other
guys.
questions on anything that you'll kind of be voting on, the forms? And like I said, Tammy will send around the top 5 so you can look at it and see the percentages and obviously the amounts and
Okay, and so on what page on this one, we're voting for the approval?
yeah, Tammy has the language used there, which says that I think it lays out exactly what the language the state to approve the finances. Correct?
Okay.
Was it page 2, Tammy, after lead paint?
I've got them all mixed up here. So I've got the fiscal year end paperwork. I've got the financial statements,
Correct. There you go.
Yeah.
You're gonna check a box.
Yep.
You're gonna check the box whether.
Sign your name next to it.
Okay, just a last question.
Yep.
The analysis of net position,
Mhm.
fixed assets, so.
Yep.
Is that basically our buildings and? land?
Correct. Correct. So it's buildings, land, building improvements,
Okay,
all the capitalization projects that have been closed out in mod.
Uh-huh.
We put there any furniture and equipment, lawnmowers,
And who-
trucks,
and who creates that assessment? The state agency
what,
or the town? Like, for example, in town, we assess values to home. Is this based
oh, it's
on?
book value on what the
Okay.
cost was.
I see.
What the cost was. So we have a depreciation schedule that lists out all the land, the buildings, and then all the modernization projects closed over each year and the cost of all those, and we depreciate those over their useful life.
Okay,
All right.
and what generally are we treating as a useful life? 25 years?
It's usually 20 years for the mod
20
project.
years.
Yes, 20 years. Yep. And then obviously like maintenance equipment, like a lawnmower or a truck, that's like 5 or 7. And if you ever need a copy of the depreciation schedule to see some of it, Tammy, just reach out to me. You're happy
Yep.
to send it along.
Okay. Okay, that's
All
it.
right. Yeah, of course. Any other questions? Okay.
There's this one.
Yeah.
On that same page, balance end of prior year 2802. Number 5. What the heck?
That's
On tempo.
no, it's 2802 is the account, the GL account number.
Oh,
Where are you seeing that? Hold on.
okay,
Correct.
that's,
So
okay,
that
that's
is
that's not a year. Even though it says balance of,
prior year.
no,
and
that's the GL
that's-
number.
that's,
Yeah, watch.
General
Show you
ledger.
the
That's the
general ledger.
general
Sorry,
ledger
for accounting
number.
purposes. So if no, I'll show you where.
I'm looking at the
That's
year.
all right.
okay,
Good
go ahead,
question.
show.
Ready? On your, I think, 4th page in, there's a schedule called 051-2, and it's called the balance sheet. Right there. Okay. If
Yeah.
you go to 2802, which is all the way at the bottom, down under equity.
Oh, yeah, actually,
Invested capital.
actually.
Right here. 2802. Okay. So what that's relating is,
Those glasses working on that?
Oh, there it is.
Working real good.
that's
An extra.
2802. So what that's basically saying is, what is the net assets of our fixed assets, which is our cost less the accumulated depreciation. And
Right.
that's what's called net book value on the books. So that's really what that's referring to on there. All right.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying, referencing beginning or prior year balance of net assets invested in capital, right? They just put the account number, the GL account number 2802. Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, good question. Good question.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Awesome.
See you soon.
Well, thank you very much. Let us know if you have any other questions. I'll ask Gary about the question that you have about the funding. And then Tammy, you know how to get a hold of us. All right.
Yep. Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. Take care.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night.
Hey, Mike.
Bye.
Thank you for what you do for
Of course.
this
Of course.
place.
Thank you. Take care.
The,
Okay.
all right. So here are each a copy of the top 5. I only have those 2, so sorry.
So are we voting on that increase on that or just?
Just that is the top, the top 5 salaries.
But we only have
That's-
4.
Right.
And so you only put in 4.
Well, technically there are 5 because Steve was
Okay.
on payroll
Yeah.
for the maintenance, the vacancy initiative. So there technically are 5.
Oh,
But
now there's 4.
now we're back down to 4
Okay.
because Yavi is on Ludlow's payroll now.
Thank you, Yav.
No fire.
Thank you for being on Loveland payroll.
We always did like Ludlow.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Leave it to you.
Going through menopause. So everybody's getting
Okay,
an
but-
increase.
Um, well,
When does this?
maintenance gets the increase every year, April 1st.
Oh,
But because that's when the new standards come out and every year they go up. So they will go up for April 1st every year.
Based
That
on the
already
state.
happened.
So if I feel that maintenance deserves more than what the standard is, we want to jump them, raise them anymore, then I can present it to you and you can approve it for them to go up.
Then next year, in April 1st, what if what they're getting is higher than what this new standard is? What happens then?
They stay where they are.
They stay with
They stay where they are.
Yeah,
So,
if they're at max,
well, they always go up. They,
so there's a step.
there's always a step that they go up and it is somewhere between, I've seen it as low as 40 cents an hour to as much as 80 cents an hour, depending on the year. So it's just that I need to make sure that's what Mike said, I have to sit and go through with him and Gary what it is we're trying to budget next year and make sure that what numbers I want fit before we decide anything on that.
Okay, but everything that we're signing today is all related to fiscal year that ended 6/30/2024. All of this is just, we're validating a recap of what actually
Did you
happened
get that?
per the accountant in 2024.
Right.
Which ended on June 30th.
Right.
So.
No, I have the paper that you signed. So when we,
Did you already see that?
Yeah.
Didn't see it bad.
no, that's just Gary's signature.
that's
It's on
what we
the back.
signed.
Now, so this is the form that we're gonna be signing, and basically, you can, if you're agreeing to accept both the top 5 and the financials that he spoke about, then you're gonna put a check mark in the first column. If you agree to just one of them, you check which one you are agreeing to, which one you're not, and then if you're declining both of them, you put over here and then you sign it. So Joe has to go on the top, so.
So before I sign this, on this budget, is there anything that's an issue that would prevent anybody from wanting to go forward on signing it today?
Right, 'cause I need a motion on it before we can
No.
sign it.
Oh, you need a motion.
Right, so
Yeah,
I need a
so that's
motion to
why-
accept the top 5 compensation report
And then you'll need a separate motion for
for
each.
each one.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
Okay, and then I need a motion to accept the 6/30/2024 financial for the end of year.
So moved.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So that
So
means that
then-
we can now complete this document.
Yep, you're gonna, you don't worry about checking the boxes. I can check, well, yeah.
Well, yes, I
Check
do.
it and then sign your name and,
Okay.
But now you can answer the question. He said, was there any reason we shouldn't?
Yeah, well, that's why I said any further discussion,
Okay. I
okay?
thought you had.
No, procedurally, we've
Yeah.
passed that,
I just
we've
thought you had
finished.
a question, that's all.
Okay. You need that back?
Yeah.
So what is the first box we're checking?
the box saying that you're certifying to both the top 5 and the financials, the end of your
Oh, both.
financials.
Okay.
And then this form is the certification of compliance for notification procedures for the federal and state paint laws. It states that when a new tenant comes in, we explain to them about the lead paint and that there isn't any, and they have to, we give them the right to know and they sign.
And so,
And we're
and so
signing.
we are,
So we're voting
So-
to accept that I am following you're certifying that I am following the rules as far as the lead
yeah,
paint.
the housing authority, so that,
We have lead paint in here?
No.
no, but.
No,
what
but
we-
I still have to give every new tenant the law and the
Yeah,
paperwork,
yeah.
and they have to sign that they've been informed of it, and
It's
I
in
have to
there.
keep it in their
It's in the
file.
packet.
Does every tenant have a file?
Yes.
And you'll fill in the signed on this day, or should I
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna fill it in right now.
signed on this? Today's what, the 21st day of August. 2020. Okay, it's all yours. So we still need to vote on this, right?
I need a motion to accept the certification.
Make a motion to accept the certification of the lead federal, state, and state lead paint laws
Maybe want a second?
procedure.
Okay, would anybody have any other questions or anybody want to discuss anything else as it relates to lead paint?
We don't have any, right?
No,
No.
Vote.
before the place was built. they
Okay,
took it
all
off
in
the market.
favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
DLs, DSs, DBs. All right, and this is the,
Is this
This
the
is-
wage match?
this is the wage match. This basically states that there's a form that, a pamphlet we have to read. I have to make sure that Jean reads it, signs off on it, and then the forms are kept in our personnel file. So it just
So when are you
states
gonna
that.
do that?
And we do it for it's gotta be due July 1st of every year because it's the start of the new year. So, this just says that I follow all the Department of Revenue procedures. I don't. So
Do
you
you?
just need to, you don't
Wanna
need to
read?
sign, oh, okay.
I just wanted to.
Do I follow?
Do you?
Yeah,
Do you?
yeah, yeah. We don't, I mean, none of the income from the
No.
Department of Labor goes anywhere. The wage match is pulled and once I'm done with it, when I do the recertifications, it's shredded.
Okay,
So,
and we are following all reasonable privacy, data security procedures in terms of shredding documents, in terms of password protection.
yeah, I
All
mean,
of
that,
kind
that
of
email
stuff.
is just, I do take recertifications home because I have 18 hours a week and there's 56 units and
Yeah,
they go home in a box, they stay in the box, I work on it, I put it back in the box. Bob has no desire to know anything about any of it.
Yeah.
So I,
Okay.
I will not take hers home from now on.
Yeah. well,
but-
that's fine. Well, what I would like to know is, what is common practice, because I know everybody's short. You take stuff home from your other place also.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and it's common for all
Okay.
directors.
And
Yeah.
other executive directors. have to
Right. I
take
mean,
home.
I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I don't come in here till 7:30, so I can sit at
Yeah.
home and get 2 hours worth of work done,
Right,
while the laundry's doing or whatever before I come in. So it's just,
right, but you're salaried, so
right.
it doesn't matter. So
Doesn't matter.
even if it's 18 hours,
Right.
we're getting,
Right.
we're getting slave labor out of it.
Yeah.
So you're following all the, guidelines that the state's doing about.
Right.
Like if people are getting gift monies or anything else like that, if there's any question on the amounts of money coming in or out.
Yeah, I mean, every
Everything is-
2 years, we have to redo our ethic training. And, the guys know that they're not allowed to take anything over, $50. And the most that comes into the office here is somebody hangs a box of cupcakes every now and then on the door. Um,
Huh.
so, but other than that, we
So
don't.
if they're stale, are they depreciated?
I don't know, Jim scoffs them down, so I'm not quite sure.
It's under the
I'm not quite sure.
threshold, right?
But I mean, there are no gifts that I know of
Yeah,
that are people here.
I'm not talking about employees, I'm talking about residents getting help, outside help.
What do you, I don't know what you mean by that.
so, and what about, they go through agencies like Western Mass
There's,
Elder Care?
there's,
and-
there's limits on how much they can accept without being penalized for
Oh,
personal gifts from people.
okay.
Family
Well,
members.
Oh, that would be part of the
Okay.
760 CMR, and that's
Yeah.
an amount that's fixed from the state.
Yeah, but
State
that's
says
person,
that-
right, that has nothing
that's-
to do with us.
That's got nothing to do with the employees. That
Right.
has everything to do with
Do with
the
the
rent
resident.
certification.
Certification.
Right.
rules, That's what I'm asking.
Right.
Oh.
So when tenants, when their accounts show that they have monies coming in that aren't from wages or social security or
Whatever
child
they
support,
declare.
whatever their income is, then they have to explain it to me. And then from there, depending on what it is, depends on whether it's actually counted as income or not counted as income, but there is a guideline and it has to be over that guideline. It has to,
Okay, and is that dollar amount, I mean, since things are always inflationary, does that number change every year?
not every year, but they've just changed it through the new regulations.
Through the new
They've
regulation.
increased it.
Right.
So it's.
But
if
now
you-
it will stay static until.
Until they change it.
Until they
again.
change it again.
Right.
legally,
Use it.
like
Until
going
the
through the
state,
legal procedure.
right. And they go through, I mean, they've been trying to change this stuff for a couple of years. It takes a bit to get that changed, but you have to, it's a reoccurring gift
Mhm.
is something that happens for 2 or more years, or if it goes above the big
Threshold.
figure.
Because
then
that
it's-
changes their income
Yep.
and that would change their rent.
Right,
But there's a guideline for it, that's all.
Yeah.
There's a guideline for it.
Right, but while it changes your rent, at that point, you can't be forced to move because you're above that number.
well, it's,
You just have to pay a higher rent number.
well, yeah, until you go above the income limits,
Right, you're at
there,
the
you
30%.
just pay 30% of whatever your income is.
What happens if you go over?
When you
the
go
income?
over the income guidelines, then I have to write a letter to the tenant stating they're over the income guidelines. And we basically give them 6 months to find a place to stay,
I see.
to move to. If they're still don't, I can extend the 6 months to another 6 months. And then, you can just keep going from there. You can't keep extending and extending and extending. If it is an extenuating circumstance where it's money that came in 1 year, but it was not going to be there the
Right.
following year, then you would just,
Have you ever had a
Yes.
circumstance where that's
Yes.
happened? Okay.
yep.
Have you-
Lottery winnings.
Yeah, so we have the lottery, nobody's hit that big, but we did have somebody that had additional income just because of a job and what was going on in the job, but it went, and I had the complete documentation from the employer of this is what it was gonna be, and this is when it started and ended, and
But it was temporary.
it was a
So
temporary
it didn't
thing.
result in that person.
Right,
having
so
to
I
leave.
went through she got the letter, and we extended it, and then it went away, and it didn't apply anymore.
But if it was an
Okay.
inheritance, it could, right? If it was an inheritance of, let's say, $100,000.
Well, it's not a,
No, it's
it's a
basic.
wage. It's
Income.
it's an income, not a, like,
Yeah, but there
an
are-
inheritance isn't,
Aren't there limits
There-
for how much you can have?
no,
Used
you
to be.
can't, there is, the income guidelines, you can't earn any more than that. If you inherit money from somebody, that's different.
Yeah,
And
life
that's not
insurance is
counted or that
It's
is
not
counted?
counted.
It's not.
It counts as an
I was gonna
asset.
say, it still counts
It
somehow.
counts as an asset, but
Yeah.
it does not count as an income.
And does it only count in the year you got it?
No, the asset counts
That's
as
that's
long
only
as you
if
have
you
over
have the
$5,000, then you are paying a
Because it's a-
percentage of your income, your assets.
Right, because it's part of the formula to determine what you're
Yeah.
gonna pay
Right.
going forward, not,
Right. You're allowed to have
you
money
know,
in the
not like a
bank,
tax.
but you can only earn so much money.
Okay.
So you gotta.
Yeah.
There's the difference. So, all right, so the lead paint. Let's see
No,
here.
no,
No, we
okay.
just did the wage match, so I need a wage match.
Yeah, we did the lead paint, so we
Yeah,
need a
so we
lead.
just need a motion to accept that, to certify that we are following all the wage match guidelines set forth by the Department of Revenue.
And did I understand Michael correctly that there's a new set of guidelines that go into effect in 2025?
No, it's just the reporting aspect of it,
Okay,
so,
okay. So we've always accepted the wage match?
yep, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody?
So moved.
Second,
Everything she said.
Okay, any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Joe just wants to say that.
Who's going on?
Max Lemke.
Okay, so do we have any more? Are we all done with?
We're all done with signing and certifying
Okay,
The year ends.
the year-end stuff.
So we're still having somebody hiring people to move along?
I have him doing it, only because they're catching up on some other stuff. And I figured it's just, I would rather get caught up on
Okay.
things that haven't been done and pay him. He does a great job, so. With all the rain, if it rains Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, the lawn doesn't get done until
Saturday.
the next time Steve is in, but with Max, if it rains Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, he'll come Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So to me, it's
So what's Steve's hours now?
Steve works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He works 24 hours a week.
So it's the same,
Same as Dakota, except for Dakota was 20 hours and we had enough money in the budget to make him 24 hours.
see, under the health insurance, et cetera, all that stuff.
He is not, he hasn't signed up for it yet, but I don't believe he'll be taking the health insurance. The budget guidelines this year, have increased the payout from, if you're not taking the insurance, it's gonna go from 1,000 to 5,000
Wow,
per employee. You just have to prove that you're on somebody else's insurance,
and he's got,
his wife's insurance.
okay, it's a good deal for him.
Yep.
every year or just one time? Wow.
There's they've calculated a benefit for
Yep.
not,
That they won't get.
for not going on the policy.
Yep.
But again, that means that when they retire, they would not qualify for that
No.
policy. They
No.
would have to take some of the insurance.
Yeah.
So,
So is there any, way to get Tammy's hours adjusted? No. Still not,
no, they,
Still not a
look, they
possibility.
ignore my
Yeah,
letters
I
now.
know.
I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Um,
I just got lucky one year going to the annual meeting and being able to like
I
find
just
the
wondered,
head person and just push it.
And had they not revamped the executive director position and guidelines, then that would have stayed into effect. But because they changed everything, they,
Well, I mean,
Anyway.
personally,
I just wondered if
Well,
if
look.
there was any,
I mean, I don't really have the time or energy to like go after the state, but I honestly thought about sending a letter to whatever the state ombudsman or whatever they call them or whoever, complaining that the state passed this law
That you have to have
And
insurance.
that you have to have insurance, okay?
Yeah.
And
Let's
that
not
if you're
give our
part of an
executive-
organization with more than, now, I know you're with the housing authority, but technically you're part of the state organization. So they have more than 50 employees. So it should be mandated that regardless, but then they have this caveat, oh, but if you don't have this many hours,
Right.
and then they penalize you. And I'm just saying that they're violating the spirit of the law for sure. I mean, technically they're complying because they can set up these formulas, but in the spirit of the law,
Okay.
it's a violation.
Yeah.
You know?
And yet they pay another employee $5,000
Mhm.
not to take it.
Because what they're looking at is they're looking at long-term retirement liabilities. There is a website out there called Trust in Accounting, put together by an accounting professor out in Colorado. And what they track is the real liabilities, the actual number, not what we're budgeting, but all these unfunded retirement liabilities, okay? Massachusetts is in bad shape. And again, all the towns are waiting for the state to bail us all out. So even Granby barely puts any money into these unfunded. We owe like 24 million and we're putting in 175,000 a year because we're banking on the fact that the state's going to need to bail out everybody, including themselves. And so we currently have $43 billion
Jeez.
Of what?
of unfunded retirement mandates in the state, according to this woman's calculation. And she does it, or her group, and she does it for all the states in the top 150 cities. And so she just got into it as a professor and she's got this whole,
Spreadsheet probably.
the
The supercomputer.
Well, yeah, and she's got data out there that
No,
you can
we've got,
So
we've
anyway.
got- we've done
Okay.
these two
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
We've got to go back.
And that probably won't go away. Not any kind
No,
of-
well, it's not gonna.
Okay, so we're going to be going back to our schedule of,
Okay, so we have everything signed now?
Yep.
Okay,
I have no.
Could I look at them?
so next on
I got
the
two.
agenda is minutes from July.
what are we
I
doing?
read them online.
Minutes from
The
July.
minutes from July that you were emailed?
Yes, got it.
Okay. Okay, when everybody's ready, I'll need a motion.
Motion to accept the minutes of July 22, 24 annual plan and regular meeting.
Second.
That's Granby Housing Authority.
Sorry, Gloria. Second.
Had to breathe.
Any comments or anything? Okay. If not, no changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay. And we've already done everything on FY.
Yeah, so we're down to the financial reports for July.
Okay.
Did we do the director's report?
We haven't done that.
Okay, now we didn't talk about budget 2025.
We did no, because, we're not ready to present it to you guys, so
Okay.
we'll be presenting that next month.
Next month, okay.
So the financial report, which is,
July 31st, 2024.
Or known as the treasurer's review.
okay.
And checking account is up because we got some money from the state or we got some back rent.
The checking account is up because we got money from the state for July 1st.
Okay.
They give us our money July 1st.
You remember how much money they gave us?
No.
So we still have one apartment, Benji?
Yeah, we still have one apartment empty here. The lady that came and looked at it decided she didn't want it. So we pulled another list.
That were.
Yep. Yep. So we pulled a new list. We mailed everything out, and
You didn't do 50 of those again, did you?
I don't have a choice. It's a state mandated. And today she called and said she changed her mind, and I said, "I'm sorry, it's too late. It's to change when she."
Oh, I mean, she decided she wanted to take it now? Well, shouldn't you
She
be
goes to
able
the
to?
bottom of the list, right? She can go.
No, she's
I
yeah.
thought you went to the bottom of the list. Start again. There's no list.
No.
That's what she told me.
No.
So I thought you could refuse 3.
You can refuse 3 and then you don't get offered any anywhere, but she refused an apartment here, so she's not on our list anymore until she goes in.
But she can go someplace else.
But she goes something
Okay.
about.
Wasn't sure exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a mistake.
Yeah. Because the apartment she looked at the other housing authority wasn't as nice as this one.
Okay, but if somebody is offered and refuses, why do we have to start over again? Why can't we just go?
There was nobody else viable on the list.
Oh, I
It
see.
was one of the, it was just,
But,
you know, you're,
but if there
Well,
had
like-
been somebody that was
right.
viable.
So, yeah,
Then-
if then I would have just, but we pulled a list and we had already done 3 people off that list. So she was at the end of the list. So I, so. The next, actually, I think tomorrow is the 10th day, so
Mhm.
we should, I was kind of hoping to have someone in there by the end of the month, but it's gonna. You have to mail the stuff out to the people and they have 10 business days to get the stuff back to you.
Oh, okay. Is anyone trying to get their stuff back to you? Have they get?
I haven't had anybody bring any paperwork in yet, but there's a lot of stuff online, so it's,
There's no list.
what do you mean there's no? So any other questions on the financials?
Oh.
Okay.
Wait a second. No, not for me. Well, this is financially related. So what's our decision on the washing machines? Remember the money didn't we discuss that last time?
I was just keeping it the way it is.
Okay,
If you bring
Because you-
in if we bring in another company to take it over,
no, I just wanted to make sure that we had fun.
I am still taking the coin out and going to my bank and putting it in my bank and taking it out or I do
Let's keep doing that. I don't want to give it.
If I have an outside service come in, the washing will go up to $2 and the drying will go up to more than that.
Yeah, no way.
And there's no coin, it's by card.
Okay.
So
So you got to pre-buy
Yeah.
on a card.
either that or a debit card, and you have people who have their aides come up, and I just can't see Thelma or somebody, Sandy or anybody here's my debit card to go do my laundry. I just,
Well, I'm not a proponent
Yeah.
of going outside
I-
and paying more money.
right.
So I was just curious.
So it's
How much
Yeah.
for a load now?
It's $1 to wash and $1 to dry, and the front loader is $2 because it's a larger machine.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah.
It's impossible to beat.
Especially because the electric bill's generated.
So,
I look at my household, my daughter's
Yeah.
friend came over with her laundry and her kids' laundry.
That's, there went the bill.
yeah,
So we wash a lot. Okay, I need a motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
And that was treasurer's report, July 31. All in favor? Aye. Okay, good.
the warrant report.
I don't know.
There's also for all the questions again.
Aye.
Water change, wow, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
That, just one big tank?
Yep.
In one house, one apartment?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yep.
Is there a 30-year warranty on it? Oh my God.
It's just the overall inflation pricing and everything.
Is Lemke local?
Yes.
Yes, West Street.
So how often does he mow?
He, because of the rain, he's been doing it once a week, but he's going to every other week now.
I'm just curious. So when is the cable thing changing?
Cable changes December 1st, November 30th, our contract ends.
So have they been contacting,
So I have been trying to get somebody to come in
Tammy, somebody's?
and, I have been trying to get somebody to come in and talk to the tenants, and the bulk center said, the bulk rate department says that they should come in, but the home residential side says, no, have them call. So tried to explain to them that, these are the elderly yada, yada, yada. So basically what it's going to come down to is those that can call and get it set up, fine. If not, Yadi and I will sit with people and make phone calls and try and get them situated. But I want them to send me information ahead of time so we have it
Yeah.
and we can find out what the best package is and then go from there.
Have they given him a price yet?
No prices have been,
Nope.
They're tough to do.
I know mine just
They're
went
tough
up.
to pin
so-
down.
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
And like Tammy was saying, us old folk don't like to play with computers and internet
Right.
and all that stuff.
Geez, I guess I'm not an old folk.
Mhm.
Me either.
Okay, the Granby water and sewer bill,
Mhm.
is that a twice a year thing or once
Yep.
a year?
We
Twice a
don't have sewers.
We do here.
Yeah, they do here. Yeah, when they ran it, it's just that it's just that we were doing studies to run it farther down,
Yeah,
at least all the way down to the high school at one time. So,
there was some discussion earlier on, with all the way down farther than that, State Street.
Where does it end?
Oh.
It might end right here.
I think
No, it
it's
is right here.
It is
No,
right
this is it.
here.
Is that it?
no, but we looked at
And it
that
goes up
Well,
and just to run
to
it,
hillside.
just to
too.
run it
it goes to
down
his
to the high school from here
That's
was gonna be, at that time, 5 years ago, was gonna be 32 to 35 million.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were trying to do it when they were doing the road repair.
Yeah, but they were
Yeah.
trying to double up on it,
Yeah.
but they couldn't. And then the whole point is if you do it, what you really wanna do, because the digging is so much of the labor, you need a bigger budget because at that point you wanna put in your fiber optic cable, you wanna put in your water, you put in your sewer,
Everything, yeah.
everything's next to it and it's because you're
Like a
digging it
conduit,
all
yeah.
already. But the town of Granby can't do it, not 57 miles of road, costs us a couple $100 million, so. Okay,
Motion to accept the warrant report from Granby Housing Authority be ending on August 31st.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
I,
Good. Unanimous?
So the director. What are your directors? Ellen, you're doing well today. So we have 26 people signed up to come to lunch next Monday.
Good,
Hope you're all joining us.
yes.
Yes.
Finns Hill, I don't have anything really new to report on it. I haven't heard back from the architect yet, but I do know he's moving forward and doing things on it, but he doesn't have anything yet to tell me about. Just waiting for the last vacant bills for the vacancy for 32 to get that closed out and get the rest of our money back from that. The well project up at Hillside, we had the walk around this morning with the bidders, and one gentleman came for the electrical side, and then somebody else came for the
Pump
well,
replacement.
yeah, the water side. So hopefully all things go well. They will,
We'll have a well.
we'll have them fixing the well. I don't, that's about all I know. I had to leave when they were still there, so that's all I have on that.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that our annual's at 80%.
Well, they've allocated us a lot of money for that, so we're hoping that it stays within.
Is a strategy to drill deeper.
Well, they're not, I don't think they're drilling. I think what they're doing, they finally found out is that the pump for the water
Oh,
is not sitting where it should be.
I see.
So then they're gonna add it in, the electric guy was, because I think they're gonna add a filtration system for the water, to purify the water, or some lights or something to, something, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's all foreign to me.
Oh, no, this is the
But-
whole ultraviolet.
Right, there you go.
Far sea.
Yeah, so
My
it's,
daughter works for a startup like that in the bulb,
Yeah.
and basically it zaps all the pathogens.
right,
So you
Um,
kill the pathogens with the ultraviolet.
Instead of chemical.
instead of a chemical.
Yes, yeah.
And then, so maintenance wise, we got a quote, we have to clean the well tanks this year. So we've got a quote for almost $6,000 to do that, but that's the 4 tanks, the 2 up there and 2 down here. The ceiling replacement abatement project, so we have ceilings in the apartments that are falling down. And the problem is the mud is hot, so it's a pretty big project. We're still waiting to find out what our award is and how much money they're gonna give us on it. But it entails hiring a moving company, hiring a pod, having the moving company move their belongings into a pod. Tenant goes to stay in a hotel, like on a Sunday. And then by Friday, they'll be done. They'll have taken everything out, repainted, and put the stuff back. And then the following week, they start on the next one. There are 13 ceilings in all that have to be addressed. Some of them are hallways.
And this is a heat issue?
No, the paint is falling
Oh.
and there's asbestos in the mud. So
Okay, I
therefore,
see. Okay.
it has to be addressed.
So if the hallways are done, do the tenants still have to get out?
No, when the ones that the hallways are gonna be done, like when we did the hallway project, they won't be able to go into the hallway while they're doing what they need to do. They'll have to use their back hallways. And then the hallways are quicker because they can have it scraped and done in one day and move to the next one. No, technically they can have 2 hallways done in one day and then have the air quality done, and then the tenants can use the hallway the next day. Whereas the apartment is gonna take them all day to remove it, air test it, and then the next day they'll paint it. And then the next day, Jim will get in and fix what needs to be fixed.
So when asbestos is involved, is there,
Does
you know,
not,
is there like a procedure so that, or some method of measurement so that they have validated that all the asbestos is removed?
Up here.
Or
Well,
are they just encasing the asbestos?
so the asbestos isn't in the ceiling paint, the asbestos is in the mud that they use when they put the
Okay, so,
plywood and
okay,
everything up.
so.
So
they
that's
gotta remove
everywhere
all
in
of that.
here. So
Okay.
they're doing what they need to do that way. None of this project is not coming from our formula funding. This is
Okay.
all money the state will
State will,
pay.
okay,
Whatever it comes out at, they will they're giving us, I think in the project right now, they have like $105,000. But if it goes above that, then they will just, whatever the cost is of it, they cover the cost of everything. The movers, the pod, the hotel, the everything.
Well, good thing the governor voted more money.
I know.
So if the ceiling is a problem in the kitchen area, are they
Whole
gonna do
ceiling,
the whole
whole
apartment? That's
Yeah.
it.
whole apartment does. So Jim went around and he literally took pictures of every ceiling in every apartment so we have it on record, which ones it is, which ones are fine.
And you can tell by the look, that's how you know.
Well, yeah, it's a popcorn ceiling. You can see the paint coming.
Yeah.
Pulling away from it.
And how many of these 13 are apartments?
I know of 6, but I know there were a couple additional. He didn't give me the actual apartment numbers today when he was in. So.
Hey.
There's 13 anyway.
So there's,
deal.
yeah, it is a big deal. And then,
But in reality, every apartment was done the same way.
Right.
Every apartment was made
Right.
that much.
So next year it'll be something.
so in reality is that when an apartment becomes vacant, it should be done when the apartment is
Or is
vacant.
vacant
And then
until all of the
until they're
ceilings.
all
are
done.
Yeah.
And that's just the mindset Jim and I have to stay with to,
Well, and you need to communicate that
Right.
to the state and say
Right.
that, look, the whole, so this
Right.
is what our plan is.
and it's not,
And if they sign off on it, then that would be part of a budget for any, because that would have to be special money to have to come from them.
So when they go in to do the ceiling, is anything else gonna get done in those apartments, like the floor, the cabinets, or?
Just the
nothing
ceiling.
else?
just the ceiling.
I mean, it would be nice if there was a budget.
Well, no, because I'm not putting, I don't have the money to put
No, I
somebody up
know.
in a hotel for a month
Oh,
and
I
a half.
understand that.
Yeah.
I
So it's just when
No, we're
they're,
talking about going forward on a policy. Could we go forward on a policy and say that, whenever the apartment is vacant, we do the ceiling, and now there's
Well-
other rehab things that we could do?
we don't need a policy. I mean, we don't need a policy on that. It's just when it's vacant, I have to apply to the department at HLC that handles the asbestos and let them know that we have going forward in our CIP and our capital projects, when we have our unit vacancy projects, we're gonna have to add money into it for that.
Okay.
So then that way, when an apartment is vacant, there is enough money to do all of that, to replace the floors, replace the kitchens, instead
I
of
would
just
just hope
painting it. And we're,
That they would just accept that so that we would have
right,
a standard.
because they know
operating
that,
Procedure.
right.
Because
I mean, they know that it's there and this is what we have to do. So I mean, we don't need a policy with them to do it. It would just be when we're doing our annual plan, we put it into the as a
Okay.
project, and make sure each year we have enough to
Okay.
do whatever.
So the ceiling replacement, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
What about this landscape cleanup?
They just started cleaning up there. They're cutting back the shrubs in the front and looking at the trees and which trees need to be
Jim
cut
was out
down.
there yesterday, I saw.
Yeah.
He's working
Yeah.
hard.
Okay.
Saw
So-
the saw.
So that's all I got.
Okay,
The meeting is on September 30th. Next meeting.
okay, so next, we don't have to.
Yes.
It's
So-
changed here. Oh, this is.
So it is September 30th. This was the one that I think was originally. I didn't change it.
So-
I forgot that.
Okay, so
So September 30th is our next meeting.
uh-huh. Okay, and so at that meeting, Gloria, you had sent an email saying that you were interested in
I think it's time to have an annual executive board meeting to do an annual review of Tammy's contract or annual
well,
review.
you have a 3-year contract, right?
I believe my
Doesn't matter, I think.
contract expires in 25. I think it's
In
next year.
20.
I think we still need to have an
Okay.
annual review. All employees should have an annual review.
Right,
That's all.
okay.
So if we could have an executive,
What?
I thought you usually did the review.
Well, the board can do the review. Like, I don't remember exactly what we did. It's been so long.
I think we usually have an executive meeting and we do an annual review.
Yeah, what I remembered was that at that point in time, because of Tammy's transitional cycle, that we sort of built that into working on her next contract and, you know, approval or.
We haven't, we haven't had an executive meeting
Okay,
with.
but remember,
for a
there
while.
are tight guidelines on what we can discuss.
Yeah,
I know whatever we decide we're gonna discuss is what
Okay.
has to go into the,
this is what you have to do for your, that's the reasons you can call an executive session.
Right. Okay,
okay.
so what we would want to set up would be, in your filing with the town, that at the conclusion of our regular meeting, we would go into executive session and we would adjourn from executive session without going
Are we
back.
not allowed to have one for that reason, what I just said?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, we can have a meeting to discuss her contract. That is something that's entitled. But I'm just saying that,
Okay,
That,
if you guys
you
don't
know, our
want one,
focus has to
you know.
be, our
I
focus has to be narrow, okay? And one of us would have to take the
I'll take
minutes,
notes.
okay?
But Tammy has to be invited.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
So 9:30 at 3 is the regular.
Yes.
Okay.
and then that's what we'll do. So,
After the
So-
meeting with this.
yeah, well, that's what we'll do. We'll go right into executive session after we go through our regular meeting, and then we'll adjourn. Well, as soon as we come out of executive session.
So who has to decide what the executive session is going to pertain to? Is that your decision? Or how do we
Well,
word it? so
Well,
that
we're,
we're
no,
covered?
no, we don't have to word the reason on what we're submitting to the town,
You want that?
but we are, I mean, you're asking for this, so our purpose is to do an annual review of Tammy's performance,
Right,
okay? So that's our purpose of the
Right.
executive session.
okay.
And where does that leave the time we come?
You come at 3:00.
No,
and then
you
we're-
come, and after we're done with everything and your opportunity to talk, then after everybody else leaves, then we, you know,
Oh, then you're
we're
gonna-
in executive session.
Gotcha.
And, you know, with that, so, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. Was there a commissioner's report?
I just have a question before we move on. Do you have an annual review with your employees here?
I did not do one this past year, no. But Dakota was getting his review as we were going through the discipline process.
Well, I think,
But,
I think you should try to
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Yeah, well, the only one she would do it for initially would be Jim.
with Jen,
And
Okay.
his secretary and her secretary,
Well,
she hasn't been here a year yet.
okay?
Okay,
Well, do you only do it annually? Do you do, like, I would
Yeah,
think a new employee could have a 6-month review time.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say, the reason for calling it executive session is to discuss reputation, character, physical condition, mental health, rather than professional competence, which the review seems like it is to me.
Yep.
So you can't do it, is what I'm saying.
no, except that when we work on Tammy's annual contract.
But that's
Okay,
not until.
Okay, call the attorney,
See,
call the attorney,
That's why I
explain
wrote
what
this, because
the
I was,
executive,
it
what
says
we've
right
asked
in that
for.
first line,
We want to do an annual review of
professional
executive session,
competence is not to be discussed.
and can that be done
Okay, I'll send
of
an
the
email.
executive director?
Yeah, because when you sent the email, I started looking.
Well, I get the individual, but does that pertain to employees? Because, no, we're not allowed to do that with other employees. The only person that we're allowed to do this with is Tammy, because she's the executive director. So just call and get us clarifications. Okay?
It's a ways off.
I'm not asking to be involved without the other one. But I do
Well, we
think that,
couldn't be involved with it.
but I do think she should. That's part of
Well,
her.
okay, but because of the instruction here, we need to get clarification from the attorney.
You're gonna have an open forum because she's waiting.
But yeah, well, we have,
Well, she's waiting, she's getting impatient. So,
okay. Well, we're getting through our we're getting through our list here. So,
Do you have anything?
I have nothing, you answered it all.
oh, okay,
So-
except that what I would like to say is, so are we organized for Monday? Okay.
We have like 30, with you guys and the staff, there's about 35 people. I'm gonna go shopping on Sunday.
Okay.
Christine and Don are gonna make potato salad for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's cooking?
Does it
Like a
have
peel of
it, or is
potatoes.
it with or without it?
I don't cook,
Does it have
Mary.
mustard, or is?
I don't
Do you
either.
peel potatoes?
They're gonna go to.
No, I could fix it. I could fix 10 pounds.
BJ's.
Okay.
I just do it.
Okay, no maintenance report either, right?
No, I did that on my,
Oh, on your
on my
director's,
thing.
okay, that's.
It's Wednesday, he's not here. So
Okay,
you're up to Eunice wanting to speak about.
Okay.
this again.
okay, Eunice, you're on deck.
about the subject, I don't wanna say, I did work at a housing authority and we never had an ED take work home. Never.
You know that?
I know that, I worked at a housing authority.
It's not, it's
But
not
it was,
supposed to happen.
Never took anything.
Okay,
it's a large housing authority with multiple people, and I'm me.
okay, well, okay, what I would like would be to get a clarification from the state, from whoever your contact is, about taking tenants' records home to complete the specific work that you do it for. Is that allowed? Is that not allowed? Maybe it's a gray area. Are there procedures that we follow if we do that?
Yep.
And I guess we can give tenants the right to opt out. Of course, if everybody opts out, then nothing ever gets done, but I guess we could do that.
Do we have to do it? My other.
No, I'm, no, this is about, no, I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
Does the housing authority or EOLUC or whatever it is,
Yeah.
okay, do they have a policy? Okay, but we could offer at least individuals the right to opt out. Okay, just like privacy in Americans. And I get that it's more convenient to take it home. I have an in-home office.
Can she
You know.
get her own and have maintenance installed?
My own what?
No, this isn't about that. This is about the fact that executive directors out here in Western Mass only get 18 hours a week
Oh,
of time to get everything.
Everyone?
It depends on the size of the housing authority.
Yeah, the housing
So
authority.
I
in
would
my,
think it would.
in my 18 hours,
Can't do it.
you can't get what's required of an executive director done, let alone the recertifications. I mean, I spoke to you Thursday. I was here all day Thursday. I was off of work from Barry because my uncle passed away and I was on bereavement. Same thing on Friday. I was here Friday and then I left to go to the funeral.
Right.
So,
Okay, but let's,
but I will
So-
get a hold of Carolina
so I
and
get it.
find
I
out,
get it. I mean, personally, if I was a tenant, it wouldn't bother me because you're already looking at that. I
Right.
would not, I mean, there would be no reason for you to even want that information. And I'm in the data business, not unless maybe that tenant inherited $1 million.
Right. And if this was a large housing authority and I had a staff that handles all of it, then no, it wouldn't go home.
And there's.
But
no
I'm
way
not.
They'll give you more hours to do
No,
what you.
they won't.
Yeah, and you change that,
That's the
and it
whole
takes you
battle.
more than 18
That's what I've been
hours.
trying
Right.
to do.
Right.
And they fix it that
Right.
way so they.
And they all work
don't
from
have to
home.
pay insurance benefit.
So,
That's good for the
That's
state.
That's the name of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, they
Method
get-
to their
yeah.
Yeah, that's what's good for
You
the
know,
state.
yeah.
So that's
That's what's
why.
good for the local
what did
housing.
we get from what she
Okay, but check that out.
Sure.
And then
Oh,
just make some adjustments. You know, if people really don't want it, don't take it on.
I won't.
Okay.
the next time was named, that's not my subject.
You may have been the devil.
Okay, go. Hey,
The next
You-
time I spoke about my medicine cabinet a long time ago, I have a scar in this arm from that. She had somebody come and switch it. They switched the medicine cabinet upside down, but that side doesn't work right either. I would be more comfortable with one like I had when I lived on the second floor, was one that opened both ways with no stop. I would appreciate if Tammy and the board would have some consideration. I love my apartment. How long I live here, I don't know, but I'd like to be comfortable with my medicine cabinet.
Yeah, you lived next to me when you had one like me,
Yes, I know it, I did.
and your other one
Why
isn't.
is that funny?
no, because we've had this discussion before.
I know.
And it happens all the time. So we finally got it flipped, but somebody should have just said, no, we need a different kind of cabinet. Okay? So it's really Tammy's call, maintenance call. The board has nothing to do with whether you get that or
Something
not.
To say the board should have something.
That this is operational, not policy. So Tammy, it's your call.
There's nothing wrong with the medicine cabinet. The medicine, you moved downstairs how long ago?
Couple of years.
3 years ago? And it's never been a problem until recently.
It's been a problem
But
for a year.
And it only opens 90 degrees. So we switched it because you were opening it this way and you were reaching under with your right hand. So we flipped it, so now it opens to the left.
But it doesn't go all the way.
And it's not gonna go all the way because that's not the design of that. There are tenants here that have some that open all the way and there are tenants that don't. To replace something that works and is not broken is just not a habit I want to get into here at the Housing Authority, Joe. And that's why I'm saying no.
Well, if I buy a cabinet, will maintenance install it?
If he buys it, then let maintenance install it.
Okay.
Okay?
And how much are they?
I don't know.
Well, I can take you to the discount place over here and you can get.
And make sure you pick
decent
one
price.
that's gonna
Do that, you
fit
can write outside.
properly.
No,
No,
that's what I'm saying. You know what? Before you buy anything, let me do some looking.
Right.
Let me do some checking because you can't just buy stuff
Yeah.
and replace stuff here because you
It's
don't
state
like
property.
it. It's state property.
I
So-
understand.
So you can't buy your own.
Okay, we'll investigate it, but let's see if we can accommodate her.
I-
Okay?
Eunice, break the goddamn thing and then they'll have to replace it.
And you know what? That'll be a lease violation and she'll be charged for it.
Okay, let's,
It's true.
That's a great
Okay.
thing to tell.
You want one,
okay.
and maintenance. hang your
Are we done?
money. If I die,
I'm done.
I gotta leave it here, that's all.
Take a fork and be
No.
done.
It's been there since I moved in that apartment.
So it was over there when you lived there.
Yeah, it was in the
Call
other
it.
apartment when I moved here.
Ready to adjourn?
Okay, guys, do we have anything?
Sense.
Okay, are you done with your comments?
Sorry.
That's what you wanted to talk
It should have been
about.
like we did
Okay.
with Thomas Flowers. and
So-
White one.
Okay, so just find out from the attorney.
Mhm.
And that'll be the decision on how we're gonna go forward on executive directorship. Let's see whatever else is over there. And for those of you that went to town meeting this past year and talked about the town budget and all these arguments about who should get the money, and then the fire department blew up, and it turns out that everybody got what they wanted in the end.
Please do.
In the end, the tax people got the full-time person that they wanted, that they were fighting about because they didn't want to pay benefits.
Well, you can use
And
it.
everybody got
as a
everything that they
steer
wanted.
for some-
The fire department,
Take the doors off.
is getting their $300,000 over budget bill paid. Anyway,
Well, our town administrator is leaving and the secretary is leaving and everybody's leaving.
yeah,
We have to vote out.
good.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second,
Anybody want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Say, come on, Gary.
That's an old one. I'm just doing the demonstration. This time, door open this way.